Blackmail. This is when someone threatens to reveal something embarrassing or harmful about you unless you do what they want. The fear of being exposed makes you feel trapped and stressed. Sensory deprivation. This involves taking away a person's senses, like sight, sound, or touch by placing them in a dark, quiet, or padded room. The lack of stimulation can cause confusion, hallucinations, and bizarre thoughts. Chinese water torture. A person is forced to sit still while cold water drips slowly and randomly onto their forehead. Over time, the unpredictable dripping drives them crazy because they never know when the next drop will hit. This method often leads to severe mental distress or even psychosis. Humiliation. Humiliation is about making someone feel ashamed, degraded, or worthless, often in front of others. This can deeply damage their self-esteem and sense of identity, causing long-lasting emotional pain. Repeated interrogation. This is when a person is questioned over and over again, often for long periods, without a break. The goal is to destroy their mental resistance and force them to confess or provide information, no matter if the information is false. Forced nudity. This involves stripping a person of their clothes in front of others to humiliate and degrade them. It's used to cause extreme shame and humiliation, stripping the person of their dignity and sense of control. Pharmacological torture. This method involves using drugs to manipulate a person's mind or body. For example, addictive drugs might be given to make someone extremely restless, dizzy, or even unable to think clearly, causing psychological distress. Waterboarding. Waterboarding is a form of torture where a person is tied to a board with their head lowered and water is poured over a cloth covering their face. This creates the terrifying sensation of drowning. Even though it doesn't physically drown the person, it triggers the body's panic response, making the victim feel as though they are suffocating. White room torture. This is a psychological form of torture where a person is locked in a completely white room. Everything, including the walls, clothes, and even the light, is white. Over time, this lack of stimulation can lead to intense psychological distress, confusion, and even hallucinations. This method aims to break a person's spirit by making them feel isolated and losing their sense of reality. Threat of severe disfigurement. This is a psychological tactic where a person is threatened with permanent physical damage, like marks or serious injury. Even if the threat isn't carried out, the fear of being disfigured can cause immense mental drain. Isolation. This involves keeping someone alone in a small space with minimal human interaction. Over time, it can cause severe mental distress, anxiety, and even a breakdown, as humans naturally need social contact. Tickle torture. Although it sounds harmless, prolonged tickling can cause extreme discomfort, panic, and loss of control. It's psychologically disturbing because the person feels trapped and helpless, which can be deeply distressing. Sleep deprivation. This is when someone is kept awake for long periods. It messes with their mind and body, leading to severe tiredness, trouble thinking, mood swings, and even hallucinations. The main goal is to make victims more likely to obey their commands. Sensory overload. This involves bombarding the victim with intense stimuli, such as loud noises, bright lights, or strong smells, for extended periods. The overload can cause confusion, panic, and extreme discomfort, making it hard for them to think or function properly. Music torture. Loud music is played non-stop, usually the same song or sound over and over. It's so loud and constant that it destroys the person's mind, making it hard to think or even sleep. This torture is sometimes used to make the person more vulnerable to interrogation or coercion. Exploitation of phobias. This method uses a person's deep fears against them. For example, someone afraid of spiders might be locked in a room full of spiders to terrify them and break their will.